Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. I'm Steve here at Top Table, as you probably already know. It's great to have you here. I seem to have video and sound, which is awesome. I can see myself and I've got the audio bar bouncing up and down, which is always a good sign. Welcome everyone. Do make yourself known in the chat, say hi. Be nice to know who's watching. I decided to do this stream. I'm streaming tomorrow during the actual preview stream from the Warhammer community. I'll be streaming that live and discussing with as many of you guys as wish to join in with me what we think about what's been revealed, etc. But I did have plans tonight to do something else. They fell through at the last minute, and I've just been super excited all day. As the week's gone on, I've felt pretty chill, and then kind of last night I was chatting to a couple of pals about the announcement, which we're going to get tomorrow. It's just been on my mind all day. Like, what's it going to be? Is it gonna change the face of the game as we know it going forward? It's just really, really exciting. So I thought I'm going to do a stream. I just need to get some stuff out there and get some stuff back in and see if the ideas that I've got are silly and see what ideas you guys have got. So it'd be really nice to have a chat. So I'm going to hang around for an hour or so. We can discuss what we think is going to be announced and what's coming in the game. And we can bounce a few things around. There are a couple of what can we say, favourites, like 10 to 1 favourites. Let me mute my Facebook because that'll get really irritating for you. Of what we think it's going to be. But it's not a given. I don't think anything's a given. You know, we've had red herrings in the past. It could well be a red herring. We've also had in the past things that were kind of leaked early, and then at the last minute GW have gone, no, we're not having it, we're going to pull it and we're going to do something else, or they've just switched things around and released things in a different order, and that may well could happen. We don't know. There's been a few signs on the internet of things that are pointing in a certain direction, but we'll get to that later on in the stream. So we've got a few of you guys in. Welcome everybody, it's great to have you. It's been a while since I've streamed on Top Table. I can't remember the last one that I did. Life's just been mega busy, as if you tune into the battle streams videos, you'll hear me moaning every fortnight how busy I am. But here on Top Table, we've had a bit of moving and a bit of shaking in the last week. Me and Matt got together prior to the doubles. We ran a team event here in Manchester a few weeks ago, which was amazing. I can't wait to do it again. Learned so much from the first event. Everyone had a ton of fun. So I'm really looking forward to planning the Great British Team Championships 2.0 for 2023. That's going to be really good. The venue was awesome, and everyone who was there was just great. So we got together after that, kind of sat down, had a drink, and we discussed Top Table. So we decided we're going to take on another host, and we needed someone who's similar to Matt rather than me. I play Middle Earth solely. I do dabble in 40k here and there and a couple of other little things, but generally any spare time I get, because I'm so busy, it goes into Middle Earth. And Matt is a bit of a gaming butterfly. He jumps around from game to game. So we needed someone like that so that we can bring more varied content to the channel. So Mr. Sam Page was announced. You guys, anyone in the Middle Earth community will know who Sam Page is. He goes way, way, way back to the early days of Middle Earth, hosting events. He lives here now in Manchester, which is great. Hangs out at Element Games. And he's come on board. So he's going to be TTG Sam. He plays a bit of Star Wars, a bit of 40k, as does Matt. So expect to see that. Also, expect to see some live battle reports for Middle Earth coming. I've got a few things that I want to try out on camera. So that's going to be coming soon. I've got a very busy August. But I think from September going forward and over the Christmas period, we should get back on track with content coming out on the channel, so do look forward to that. Anyway, the reason we're here is to discuss what we think is going to be announced tomorrow. So please do whack in the chat what you think it's going to be. Bounce back off any of the ideas that I've got, whether you think I'm way off or whether you think I'm on the money. That'd be really, really cool. Let's see who we've got in. So Scott's in, Hajinder's in, Joe's in. Great to meet up with you again, Joe, at doubles. I went to doubles last week at Warhammer World, which was amazing. Like a great event. J Max saying, how you doing, pal? Do check out J Max YouTube channel. I think you can click his name and give him a subscribe. It's always a nice thing to do. Anthony W, hello, greetings from Poland. Welcome, Anthony. I don't recognise your name from any other streams, either on here or on Battle Streams in Middle Earth, but welcome. It's great to have you, man. Reese is in. Good to see you, Reese, the last couple of weekends as well. Thank you for stepping in day one at the team's event. You're an absolute legend, and you're just living up to that title and smashing it, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Good, Reese. I'm good. Gregor Johnson, hello. Hello, Gregor. Hope you're well. Big hype, says J-Mac. It is a big hype. This is the most excited I've been since the sort of reincarnation, the last new rule book that we got. How are we getting a new rule book? It would make sense to, if they're doing a new starter set, it would make sense to release a book to bring new players into the game who don't have a rule book, that a lot of the stuff that's in there is out of date, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think a new rule book would in a new starter set would be something that if it was me, I would definitely be sort of pushing for. So do you guys think we're going to get a new rule book with all the up-to-date FAQs in it? Do you think it? I don't think it's going to be a reincarnation of the game. I don't think it's going to be an overhaul of the basic rules, because we've literally only just got a new source book, and if they changed any of the rules in the main rule book, it would interfere with everything that's in them books, all the special rules and stuff. I could be wrong. They might have just put so much effort and time into it that they've thought of all these different things that it could affect and dealt with it. But I think it will just be an updated rule book that we already have, just with the updated FAQs. But what do you guys think? The Glen Gudotti, is that how you say it? The Glen Gudotti? Sorry if I mispronounced it. You say you can't wait. I can't wait either, my friend. It's going to be awesome tomorrow. The only downside about tomorrow and this announcement is starts at 2 o'clock, and Man United's first game kicks off at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm going to have one screen with the match on and one screen with the stream on, and then the other screen I'll be streaming to you guys and chatting away. Carl Daly's in. How you doing, Carl? Again, great to meet up with you again. It's always a pleasure, Carl. And meet your little one, Silver. Absolute sweetheart she was. Athelian Ambush or Ascilia starter, fingers crossed. Yes, so there's a couple of things that do point towards that, which I'll come to in a minute. I'll just get through the people that are in, and then we'll come to a couple of things that I didn't notice at first, but have been pointed out to me, or pointed out in general on the social media pages, and yeah, we'll go from there. Joe Kelly's in. How you doing, pal? Streaming back-to-back days, love it. Yeah, I'm. Do you know what? I had the team event, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, and then doubles last week, and I went into those like really stressed, really busy at work, really busy home life. We might having to move house, so there's all sorts going on, and I come out of those two events just like really hyped again for the hobby, and just want to get stuck in. I've got probably, I think, 3 different projects in front of me. So I've got my my mounted 9, because I've got the 9 on foot already painted. I've got my mounted 9 there, which have been there for probably, I don't know, 2 years, which have just been nerfed, but it's fine because I think the nerf is awesome. We can talk about the FAQ as well tonight if you want, by the way. I think the nerf is right. There's nothing worse than that sneaky way of popping your wraiths to win scenarios. I think that sucks. So even though that's happened to have been nerfed, I'm still going to get them painted because they're awesome, and I just love them old sculpts. I've got my Easterlings, which anyone who tunes in regularly will know I've been painting for about 1 million years, and yeah, I'm just slogging through those. Reese, who's in the chat, he's finishing up my Dale. He's already painted about half of them, and they look sweet, so they're going to be getting on the channel soon. And what else have I got? I've got my Easterlings, my Black Riders in the background, but way, way, way in the background. I do have my Fiefdoms army, which I keep dropping on. It's really not top priority. It's just one of those armies that I want to have painted so that I can just get it out every now and again. I've got my Knights of Dol Amroth painted, and I've got my Axemen painted, but I want to go back to them because I painted them many moons ago. I've not painted all my Clansmen, and I've not painted my Men-at-Arms. So I want to get back to those because I really want to try out like a list that's Minas Tirith and Fiefdoms with Boromir with his banner, and just get all them buffs and just see actually how good it is, because on paper it looks like it could be awesome. So yeah, I've got all that to go on, and I'm really hyped to get through it, is basically what I'm trying to say. So it's exciting. This news coming out of those two events and getting the announcement that they're going to be doing this first ever preview has just ignited a fire in my belly like I've not had for a couple of years. So I'm just super excited to get back into the hobby with 2 feet and just start smashing things out and creating content for you guys. Where were we up to? Glenn's in. Glenn, do you know what, Glenn? I was just thinking about you. Literally, was it yesterday or the day before? And I said, you know me, Glenn, better than most in the chat. I'm very sort of scatty, so I think to myself, oh, I need to do that. And then 5 minutes later, it's gone because I've had another 1,000 thoughts run through my head. And I was thinking about you the other day, and I've not heard from you for a while. I thought, I need to drop Glenn a message and see how he is. So I hope you're well, mate, and it's great to have you in. You said, hopefully there is new Plastic Warrior kits. A new edition is hopeful. Yeah, so I think I can drop little bits in of my thoughts rather than wait, because I think the chat's going to be quite free-flowing. My head tells me that we're not going to get new Plastic Warriors, but my heart cries out for them. And the news this week, which I wrote some of this down so that I could remember, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at some of my notes. I'd seen someone posted on one of the Facebook groups, and I didn't realise this, but Warriors of Minas Tirith, the plastic Gandalf, the white kit, the new one, or I keep calling it the new one, the newish one, the Knights of Minas Tirith, the Ranger Captains, which has got Faramir in. I think it's only because they've got Faramir in. I don't think it's anything to do with Madril or Damrod. Winged Nazgul, Morannon Orcs, the Mordor Plastic Troll, Mordor Orcs, Warg Riders, and Gothmog are all out of stock on the website, which is a huge coincidence, bearing in mind that the sort of lead contender for what we're going to see tomorrow, or one of the things that's going to be announced, is a starter set based around Osgiliath with Faramir and Gothmog on, which was not teased, it was kind of leaked. Someone put a post on months ago and everyone laughed him out of the group. And it's looking like he could have been on the money. Again, it's not set in stone. We don't know this for sure. Now, does that mean they've come out of... I'll sort of say off the web store because they're going to be repackaged, because the new box set is going to have different kind of artwork, and we're not going to have like that blue leathery look that we have on most of our I think we've got some here, sorry if that made loads of noise, like this blue. I think is this all going to change to match the artwork on the new starter set or the new book? We don't know. Have they come off because, you know, it did say in the first teaser lots of new models. So lots of new models says a lot. Again, my heart is screaming out. Lots of new models means new plastic kits, but my head says no. What do you guys think? I think the plastic Faramir and the plastic Gothmog, which was sort of spoke about originally in that post, is a strong contender, seeing as they've come off. I'm not sure why all them Warriors have come off, other than some of them are going to be in the box set and they might come off being on sale to buy separately for a while, so that people buy the box set, or have they come off because we are getting new Plastic Warriors? If we get new Plastic Warriors, I will be so happy. I will be so happy, because it just seems so far away for us to get there, because even though the game is very popular and it's growing and growing and growing, we are nowhere near 40k numbers. We're nowhere near Age of Sigmar numbers. But are GW hedging their bets and thinking, with the new series that's coming next month, again, which I'm super excited for, I think it looks amazing, are they hedging their bets and thinking this is going to bring in a mass of people into the hobby? So let's give them something super cool to play with. Like, if you look at the models that are coming out for 40k and the plastic kits that are coming out for Age of Sigmar, and you know, the stuff you're getting like in the Warcry box sets and things like these are all new plastics, so they have the means to do it, but it's whether they want to allocate that to Middle Earth or not. We're desperate for updated plastics. We have been for a long while, and I think everyone can agree with that, but we know, and it kind of sits all right with us. We understand that we're not a priority when it comes to warehouse space, machining space for making these new models. We never really have been, but it would be amazing. It would be amazing. So all them models coming off do point towards the Osgiliath set, but it's not necessarily that. We've also had all these things, which, let me just get this up, see if it'll come up. These things that have been posted on the Warhammer TV page with these looking glass images that are focusing on different areas. And sort of Osgiliath does fall within most of the pictures that we've seen, but also there's a lot of things in there that, there's a lot of Elvish stuff that's been looked at. You've got Fangorn in there. We are waiting on a new Ent. Moria's in there. There's lots of stuff. It could be anything. It could be a new starter set and a load of other stuff. Who knows? But it's really exciting. It's really exciting. I'm going to jump back in the chat because we will obviously cover all these different outcomes as it comes to as you guys want to talk about in the chat. Ian's in. How you doing, Ian? Great to have you in, mate. Not seen you for a while. Look forward to catching up with you at Element. Dan Snape's in. How's it going, Dan? Dale Groves is in, the legend that is. Evening all, says Dale. Evening, Steve. Hope you're doing well, mate, says James Hogg. I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. I go on holiday on Monday for a week. Nothing spectacular. We're staying in the UK, but we're going on a little family holiday. We go to the same place at least once a year, as well as another holiday. And this is the place where we go. We've been taking the kids since they were babies, and I used to go there when I was little. So I'm relaxed. I finished work on Friday. I'm always working, so I've got quotes to do and things like that. But I'm feeling relaxed. I'm going to take that away with me and do it one evening when the kids go to bed. But yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good, thank you. Frederick's in. How are you doing, Frederick? Where's the whip thread? No whip thread tonight, obviously, because that will be tomorrow night. Yeah, don't forget, anyone who is tuned in that's not been here before, I'm just going to change my... For some reason it's on top chat and I want a live chat. That's probably going to throw everything out, isn't it? There we are. Yeah, so anyone who's tuned in tonight and isn't aware of something called Battle Streams in Middle Earth, that is another channel that I do once a fortnight with my compadre, Mr. Damien O'Byrne. And we look at the old battle games in Middle Earth magazines and just talk about loads more to do with Middle Earth strategy battle game and everything else in between. And we have a whip thread where people, whilst they're watching, if they're painting along, we have a work in progress thread on a Great British Hobbit League. They take pictures of what they're working on and we look at it in the stream. So if anyone's wondering what a whip thread is and what Frederick's on about, that is basically it. Sean's in. How you doing, Sean? Stephen Wright is in. Hello Stephen Wright. I hope you're well. Harry Arthur Peel, well met to you, my friend. Jamat says, "Oh, thanks, man. New plastic kits, please." Could you imagine? I mean, I think Faramir and Gothmog, like I say, are almost a given. So we're kind of expecting those. If we don't get those, I'd be very surprised. And anything else on top of that is a bonus. We still want Beachbone. I think Beachbone, we might get a look at Beachbone tomorrow, and I also think we might get a look at the new Drake models. I hope that's not hit. I've got, because they said lots of models, I've got this vision of just like tons of images to soak in, and it's going to be great for me because then I go on holiday and I can just soak it all up. Last Alliance would bankrupt me, says J-Mac. Yes. Yeah. I would love that. I mean, I wanted that a long time ago, and I think I honestly still believe to this day that our Last Alliance supplement was about to drop, was in the cards, and then Amazon dropped the bombshell that they were doing a series, and it got a pin put in it because it was set around, it would be all around the same sort of thing, and the aesthetic would be very different, and blah blah blah. And they probably GW would probably have thought at that time, well, let's go for the license. It makes complete sense. Let's see what happens with that before we release something that isn't going to tie in. But I honestly think, and this is just my opinion, I honestly think releasing a Last Alliance supplement anytime between then and now would have still been fine, even if the aesthetics didn't match. I know I still would have got it. So yeah, Sean says, it's weird, I didn't think something would surpass the level of excitement for Rings of Power. Yeah, I know, right? It came out of nowhere as well. I mean, was I the only one who just, when it was announced, like it took like I remember it dropped whilst we were at Doubles on the page, and it was saying, yeah, it's a Twitch preview, it's the first one ever for Middle Earth, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then sort of I come away from doubles. I think because it was like doubles, I didn't get pay too much mind to it. And then I come away from doubles and I was like, this is going to be huge. This is going to be... They must have a lot to show us and a lot to talk about if they're doing this, because they haven't done it before. And they've had plenty of times when they could have done it. They could have done it for the supplements. You know, they could have got Jay Clare on. They could have got some of the people who are involved in putting the rules together and the ideas, and the sculptors on and things like that for the new models. They could have done it for any of the supplements, you know, just like a little Twitch stream, and they never did. And all of a sudden now they are. So I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be big. Hajinder says, for the Two Towers models, I think we could see a return of the old Helm's Deep Gate and maybe the Asciliath box set, New Faramir and Gothmog. Yeah, I'm definitely with you with Faramir and Gothmog. The old Helm's Deep Gate, I'm not sure. Someone will probably be in the chat who knows far more than me, but I've got a vague memory of someone saying that those kits were like not third party, but they got a company to make them. So GW, again, this was just chat that I picked up on. It could be totally wrong. Someone correct me if they know. But those kits weren't like GW kits. Like a company made. GW got a company to make them sort of off-site, like a different company. And once they were gone, like a lot of the stuff used to be. Again, I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. But also the scale is very off on those. They're very small. And they're not really playable, only for like Siege, and I don't think Siege takes a lot of place in you can't play around them, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying they wouldn't. It would still be cool because they look awesome as display pieces. But I don't know. I think I find it a stretch to think that they're going to re-release that. The Osgiliath kit come off the website again. A sprue of that could be in the box set, in the starter set. That would make complete sense, and it's an awesome kit. You can do a lot with it. It's great for playing around, except for your horse base doesn't fit through the doors, so you have to have a chat with your opponent beforehand and say, no, neither of us are douches, are we? So our horses can go through there, right? Everyone's had that conversation. But it's a great kit. It would be cool. It's the 20th anniversary of the Two Towers this year, and they did mention that in the announcement. So, yeah, it's going to be something. I think Faramir, Gothmog, and Runes of Asciliath are going to be in the starter set, I think. Carl says, I know I'm going to be happy with whatever they have coming out. All I really want is Asciliath Legendary Legion, as that is what I'm doing next year as a good army. I'm kind of with you, like I've got loads of expectations, like loads of wants and wishes, but whatever it is, I'm going to be happy with. I did used to be on that kind of that the side of the fence where I just want more, I want this and I want that. But I don't know if it's because I've just as I've got older, or as I've been trying to keep up with buying the things that they release, I'm a little bit more chill about it. And I'm in a fortunate position that a lot of the Middle Earth team I'm friendly with, and I know it's in safe hands. So like I'm really not worried, and I know that, you know, if it was up to them, we would have had all these cool stuff by now. But I know that it's there somewhere in the background cooking away, just ready to be released. And everything that they've released thus far has been awesome. So yeah, whatever they release, I'll be really happy with. Joe says he's thinking we might see some plastic elf warriors and heroes, perhaps Gil-galad, Elrond, Galadriel, etc. A way to tie in the Rings of Power without directly tying in. That's pretty much, yeah, what I kind of said before. Like, I think that would be fine, even though the aesthetic's different. I don't think I would put anyone off, and I don't think it would. Let me get rid of that chat box. I don't think it would. Yeah, I don't think it would put anyone off, and I don't think it'd be a problem. Big companies like GW might feel differently. I do apologise for my chat box keeps popping up. I don't know how to stop the chat box popping up. If anyone knows, do let me know. Let me see if it's in there. Anyway, yeah, I think it'll be fine. I did hear rumours many moons ago, before, I can't remember what supplement it was, when I thought the next supplement was going to be Last Alliance. But whenever that was, I remember hearing rumours of a new Gil-galad plastic. It was done, dusted, everything was signed off on it. But then obviously that supplement got kiboshed. Again, it's just hearsay, it's just rumours. But if they've got the model there, why not release it? People will buy it. People will buy it. We don't have a mounted Gilgalad. People will get it. People will still want models from the aesthetic of the movies that everything else in the game is set on. So, yeah. And Joe also says, think we'll have the next book or two revealed with re-releases in October. I'm half expecting the next book to be Fiefdoms Harad Far Harad. Yeah, we are kind of on the same page, Joe. I think that's where we're going to head to next with the supplement. But also we've just had because they tend to do that thing, don't they, with the supplement? So they have like a really big one that's that chunky and bulky, and it's sort of aimed at match play and sort of reinforces armies and bring any armies that are sort of way behind and a little bit lackluster, brings them back up to date and with new heroes and things like that. So that's kind of like that with Defence of the North and the Easterlings. Is it going to go? Are we going to get like a little fun one next, and then that, which will sort of bring Fiefdoms, because Fiefdoms does need a bit of a boost. It doesn't need a boost, it's cool, but there's just not a lot of it. So that might be maybe not the next one, but the one after. So we're on the same page there. And then revealing the next books. Yeah, I think revealing. I don't think there's anything wrong with revealing like two books in advance. I really don't. I think that's a really sort of good idea. It gives people something to look forward to, and also if they know something's coming, it will keep the interest there. So yeah, that's it's not a bad shout, that, actually, Joe. Austin says, welcome Austin, he says, feeling a Faramir vs Gothmog, lots of Gondor out of stock, and Rowan has been given tons of love already. It's time for Faramir to prove his worth. Hello Austin. Yes, it is time for Faramir. I wonder if Faramir is going to get a little bit of a buff or an update, or maybe there's going to be a legendary legion that makes him a bit chunkier, gives him more sort of more oomph, because I used to play Faramir a lot back in the day. And I always just maxed him out with everything that he could get. So lance, horse, shields. Get him as good as possible. And he was good. But if he come up against anything top tier, like a 3/3/3 hero, he just couldn't compete. And with him being sort of, which is going to be the main focus, good character in a new box set, you'd like to think that there's going to be some sort of buff for him that can make him stand toe-to-toe with Gothmog, because Gothmog would kick his ass right about now. So maybe there's a legendary legion in there that makes him a little bit better. Who knows? William Miles, welcome my friend, says good evening. Great chat, thanks. Thank you for joining us, William. Don't be afraid to jump in and get involved in discussion. It'd be great to hear your point of view. A million years of quick edge highlighting, says Frederick. Yeah. J-Mac says, Armies of Middle-earth, hoping this will be a big investment in Middle-earth from GW from now on. I think, again, Armies of Middle-earth is part of your name. Sorry, mate, I highlighted the wrong bit. Yeah, hoping this will be a big investment in Middle-earth from GW from now on. Yes, it's dead easy for us who are in the hobby, and it's our main hobby. And we kind of sleep, eat and breathe it. To assume that it's up here on GW's priorities. Like, sometimes you have to kind of check yourself and realise that maybe it's not. But a caveat to that is it's far more popular now than it was. Just from someone kind of sitting on the sidelines and looking at how big the communities are, how big they're growing, how quick events are selling out. Not just Warhammer World events, like the indie events, Great British Hobbit League events, the events that are not even Great British Hobbit League, which I think almost maybe surpassing. I think people are wanting events that are a little bit more than just turn up and try and win, which is great for me, because that's been something that I've always tried to do with the Scouring of Cheshire, and any event really that I run. I've always tried to not mess around with the rules, but give them a twist somewhere in the event. So yeah, maybe GW are looking at it and thinking it's worth investing in now. And again, a big carrot to do that is the fact that Rings of Power is out in September, and that is going to bring in a whole new a mass of people who are interested in Middle Earth. There's going to be a lot of younger people brought in. Younger people are going to, they're going to see these shiny little toys that look super cool and be enticed into getting involved. So maybe they're looking at that and are forecasting that there's going to be an even bigger surge of people joining the hobby and think, right, let's put a bit of money behind it and make some cool new models and invest more in the game and see what happens. Because you have to spend money to make money, like any business will tell you that. So who knows? Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Nathan T is in. How you doing, Nathan? He says, it's great to see you at the weekend as well, Nathan. I have it on good authority we're about to get a range of models representing content creators. Could you imagine? What would my profile be? What would my profile be? I don't know. I dread to think. So stream snack this evening is a hot chocolate sponge pudding with some custard. That does sound very nice, Carl. No stream snack for me. I did get some snacks today, but they're for tomorrow night's stream. So I'm saving them for that. And some beers. I've also just woke up from a nap. Long day of gaming at an event had me waxed. Which event was it, Carl? I've been sort of out the loop today. We're going away on Monday, so we did that thing. I think, does everyone do this where you decide to clean the house top to bottom so you come back to a clean house? And also sort of keeping up on the scores with the football. And speaking of the scores at football, Carl, what happened, mate? What happened, my friend? Carl's a Liverpool fan, for anyone who doesn't know, and they drew their first game. It was fully expected to win. Frederick says, hope it's not a new edition that makes the books we have obsolete. I really can't see it. Not so soon after Defence of the North. I really can't see that. Reese thinks Runish Drakes, New Elrond and Gil-galad mounted. All worth putting a fiver on, mate. Definitely. Skywalker Sindar says the Skilliath and Last Alliance seem like they would sell very well. I agree. I think they would. I think it's kind of Last Alliance for sure. I think people, especially people who have been in the game for a long period of time, I've just been screaming out for new Last Alliance models. The Gil-galad model, although I do kind of have this sort of, what's the word? This affiliation with it because it just reminds me of it was one of the first models that came out, and it just reminds me of the old days. It's not the best model. There was never a mounted version. He's such a big hero in the game. He's so good. He should have a better model. So yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And it would sell. Both would sell. If I was given the choice, I would go Last Alliance over Asciliath. But again, that's my heart speaking. My head says it's the Asciliath set, which I'll be honest. Until that rumor a few months ago, I would never have guessed. Never have guessed they'd have done an Asciliath box set. Never in a month for somebody's. Frederick says new starter set, new expansions, and new minis would be great. Yeah, I would love tomorrow for them to sort of give us not show us everything, but give us a sneak peek for the next 12 months or the next 18 months. Like, this is what you can expect. So we're going to show you these little bits, but as well as these little bits, there's going to be loads of stuff that we're not going to show you that tie into each of those little bits. That would be awesome. Be cool to see some new terrain too. It would. With the Asciliath ruins coming off the website, kind of tells me maybe not, and it's going to be that repackaged. I don't think have they ever released two or messed around, had like two sets at the same time. I know the Asciliath ruins is not like a new set, but if they're repackaging it, would they do another terrain set, or maybe they might tease a terrain set that's coming in the next 6 months? Ian's asking Carl, normal custard or choc custard? I hope it's normal custard. It seems like a combat patrol style box could be coming. There was also rumours, wasn't there, of that kind of vibe boxes, so kind of like maybe like army boxes, army starter sets, where you're going to be able to get like maybe a couple of heroes or a hero and troops, an array of troops for each faction, which I'm not sure how that would work with Middle Earth because the factions are so intertwined. I suppose it could work if they put enough into it, but We'll see. Austin says he returned after 10 years because of Rings of Power, sparking my interest again. Massive Last Alliance fan and a high... Yes, same, mate. Like, high O's are just amazing. I'm super hyped for Rings of Power as well. I have been since it was announced. I'm one of those guys who I'll judge it when it lands, and regardless of whether I love it or I just like it, I'll be glad we've got it, because it's more Middle-earth content for us to soak up, and it's fresh Middle-earth content for the next... Is it the next 5 years? Is it 5 seasons? I think it is. Could be wrong. But yeah, we're on the same page. Normal custard Carl's having. Nothing fancy. It's piping hot. And he doesn't love very hot custard, but it's a bit warmer than warm. There you go. I'll be getting a serving of cold custard next. Skywalker Sindar says, Plastic Gilgalad seems essential within playing a large role in the Rings of Power. They did say, my chat's just jumped, they did say that the announcement is in no way linked to the Rings of Power. That's another thing I would like to say, and just let me know what you guys think about this, right? I don't think anyone expected it to be, really, deep down. I don't think anyone expected it to be a tie-in, because I think that we'd have heard murmurings of that by now, and we haven't. But I found it odd, personally, that they mentioned that in the post, that they felt the need to say it's no way linked to Rings of Power. And when I say that, I don't mean, it's a bit of an ace up the sleeve. They're going to announce some sort of collaboration. I don't mean that. I think what they say, they're going to do what they say, so it's not going to be linked to the Rings of Power. But I just find it odd that they felt the need to say that. I might be reading too much into it, but I think we could be getting an announcement later on in the year about Rings of Power. I'm calling it now. You guys, there's 57 of you in. I'm saying it now. Rings of Power announcement from Games Workshop, back end of the year or Q1 next year. I'm gonna go for it. I just find it really odd that I just find it odd. I just find it really odd. I was like, why did you say that? Like, you could have just said everything you said without saying, by the way, it's not linked to Rings of Power. I just find it weird. Glenn says, been busy with life and work. Also found SBG to be very stale, so moved fully over to MCP. Hope tomorrow is a sign for a refresher. Yeah, I hope so, mate. MCP is cool anyway. Matt loves MCP, so you should see more of that on the channel. We did do a bit, but then just me and Matt got dead busy. My work life got really busy. Matt's work life actually got less busy, but he's got a baby, so that kind of made up for it. The Glenn Gadetti, I wonder if they would do a new starter and alongside it a box like Indomitus with more models. I can't see them releasing like 2 boxes. I can't see that. I don't think they'd invest that much in it. I don't think they've ever done that, have they, for any of the systems. But what I think tomorrow they're going to announce a new starter set for, what are we in now? We're in August. So August, September, October, November. It's going to, I reckon, for like late November, early December release. But they'll also show us models that we're going to get prior to that, and I'm hoping they show stuff that's going to be to do with the tie-in for the new starter set, because that's I think what they'll do. If they release a new starter set that's aimed at bringing new players in, then a few of the releases after that I think will be loosely connected to the whatever's in the starter box. It would make sense for that. Frederick asks me, will I be at Ardacon? I have chocolatey stuff for Ardacon, and if there's a mini B sign it up, you will get some stuff. So fingers crossed. I'm not playing at Ardacon. I've not played at. I think I played at the first one. That's the only one that I've ever played at. But I do try and get down to say hello to everyone. Last year I did it on Saturday night. It's a funny weekend, and it's even funnier this year because it always lands around the same time as my wedding anniversary, which is the 23rd of August. So it's a little bit earlier this year, but I'm away this week and I don't get back till Saturday. So it depends how I feel after the drive back from being on holiday. If I feel up to it, I'll pop down on the Saturday night. If not, I may pop down on the Sunday, but I try and not pop down during the day when everyone's playing, because everyone's playing, so it's kind of pointless. I want to come after when everyone's socialising and relaxing, and we can have cuddles and say hello and everything like that. But I'm going to try my damnedest, Frederick. I'm going to try my damnedest. I'd really like to. Damien's, I always go out my way to go and meet Damien anyway, because we do so much together, and it's very rare that we actually get together. But I seen him last weekend. You know, you can't have too much of him. I'm only joking. So yeah, I'm going to try. So expect me Saturday night, and if I can't make it, I'll put a post out because there's a few people that I want to meet up with on the Saturday if I can. But I'll let people know if not. But I'm going to try. Charlie says, enjoy your holiday, mate. I managed to avoid diesel all week at work. What do you mean you managed to avoid diesel all week at work? What do you mean? Don't know what you mean, Charlie. Please explain. Ben WL says, it was really nice meeting you at the Warhammer World Doubles event. Ben from Stoke. Hope it went okay. Hiya, mate. Yes. It was good. We placed pretty well. I was really happy with how it turned out. I very quickly learned that the next doubles event I won't bring dwarves, because do you know what the weird thing is? It's that long since I actually like played for fun. I forgot there was doubles scenarios, and I just had it in my head when we were planning the army. I got we brought Iron Hills, and I got Calman to give us some advice, because he's like the Iron Hills guru. And we come up with this list that was we said we want it to be fun. We don't want it to be beardy. We want it to be fun, but we want to give people a game. So we wrote this list, forgetting that doubles has its own specific scenarios. Which so this was the way it was. Anyone who doesn't know, who wasn't there, it was at Warhammer World, and it was 800 points overall. But it was doubles, so one person brings 400 points and the other person brings 400 points, and essentially it's two armies that are combined to become one. But in the double scenarios, if you read them, you're always separated. So it's two 400 point armies, and they're always separated. And what we found was, because we were dwarves and we moved so slowly, if we were up against anything that could move fast, which we tended to draw every round, it was always 800 points of their army, because they were able to get together a lot quicker and then attack 400 points of our army, and it just took so long to get the other 400 points there. But we did well. We won 3 games, drew 1 and lost 2. We got absolutely hammered in the 2 that we lost. One of them was against Rohan, which we kind of knew because they could move, and the other one was against a Minas Tirith High Elf combo. But we lost that, and I think I can safely say, and I think if Keith, our opponent, and his lovely wife are watching, will agree, he rolled a very unnatural amount of 6s throughout the game, which I think edged it for him. But we got hammered, so well played to Keith and his wife, and well played to everyone that we played. We had a great weekend. It's great. If you've not been to any events at Warhammer World, I do recommend that you try and get tickets and get over, because they're unlike any other event that you'll get to, and it's just always a lot of fun. Ian says, having a couple of kids, including a 1-year-old, is stopping me getting to events I want to attend. I reckon next year I should be able to attend a few more. Fingers crossed, mate. I thought that. And then life just got even busier. He's calling Elven Scenery. Has there ever been any? Not for Middle-earth. It could be a shout. Who knows? Frederick says, it wasn't a mistake at the time. J. Clare on the Anarian mention in Isildur's profile, hinting that a supplement was planned. Yeah, that's kind of what they were kind of the murmurings that I heard at the time. And JMet says, I agree, perhaps all the Last Alliance stuff stuff they worked on will get dropped with the new starter, if they worked on it. He said that at the Ardacon seminar, says Frederick. Yeah, it seems like we'll go in Osgiliath. Now, if we're going Osgiliath, and it's got Gothmog and Faramir in it, there's not going to be any High Elves in it, surely. It wouldn't make any sense, right? I think we're going to get teased a new starter set box, and I think we're also going to get teased some Elven stuff that isn't anything to do with the starter set. I think they're going to be like separate. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it. Joe Osman says, previously they made big announcements at live seminars, but I understand they're no longer allowed to do that, which would explain why they've gone down this route. Well, seminars in general have been stopped because of the thing that happened. And hopefully they'll come back. I did press on a few of the gentlemen at GW about the seminars coming back, the possibility of them, and they were very honest. And I get why they changed it, but maybe they could just do presentations instead, where they don't invite questions and they just have like a pre-recorded thing that they put up on a screen for people who attend events on Saturday night. That would work, and then they could vet everything that gets said in that video. But they did say there's no plans imminently for them to come back, which is a real shame, because the seminars was such a huge draw for me. I used to, even if I didn't get tickets to Warhammer World events, I would always go on the Saturday night and hang out, have a few drinks, do the quiz, watch the seminar, sometimes drive home that night, sometimes stay in a hotel, and I'd go just for that, even though it was always out on Warhammer Community the next day or an hour later. I'd still go. It's just a shame that doesn't happen anymore, and hopefully it will come back. GCS says, is this a new release? It is. Well, it seems to be. It's going to be a huge announcement of what they announced as something to do with the anniversary of the Two Towers, and a lots of new models, I think were the exact words, lots of new models to show us. But the murmurings, GCS, have been of a starter set that is themed around Osgiliath, and we think we're going to get a new plastic Faramir and a new plastic Gothmog in that kit. Whether they're going to do a similar thing as they did with the Pelennor starter set, and those be the only new plastics, and then they put a load of repackaged Minas Tirith Warriors and Morannon and Mordor Orcs in there, we'll find out tomorrow. Hopefully we're going to get new plastic kits, but I don't think we are, but fingers crossed. That was the other thing. So the Pelennor set only had one new plastic kit in it, the Theoden kit. Like the Witch King was the old Witch King sprue. So they might be breaking the mold with this new starter set. If you're getting a new Faramir and a new Gothmog, they might just be caution to the wind. Everything that's in that box is new. Like we haven't seen it. That would be the dream, and that would be next level. That would be something else. New modular Osgiliath terrain kit would be awesome, says Frederick. It would be a real shame to say goodbye to the old one because it's so cool. But yeah, it would, if it was more sort of in scale and the doors would let 40mm bases go through them, and yeah, more modular, because that was the thing with it. It wasn't very modular yet, so let's start cutting into things to build it in a way different than the box art. But that would be cool. Austin says, Mounted Isildur is returning in October. If that doesn't scream Last Alliance support, I don't know what does. It's so out of the blue if it wasn't for Rings of Power. Austin, my friend, if you are correct, I owe you a pint. I would love that to be the case. I really would. Fangor themed woods would be cool, says Charlie. Yes, they would. But would they be too similar to the wood set that they've got? Because the wood set that they've got, I can't remember what it's called, the one that you could put together in a circle with the weird circular base things. Would it just be too similar to that, to have two sets like that in not just the middle of the range in general? The other thing I'm hoping for, says Agenda, is then finishing off the new plastic Fellowship models, Boromir, Gandalf the Great, Frodo and Sam. One of the things that not a lot of people have mentioned is that I think, and I kind of expected it a while back, when we got the Forge World Ammon Hen kit, which is beautiful. And like you've just mentioned, Agenda, there's a couple of holes in the plastic versions of the Fellowship to be filled. Would be Boromir. Lurtz we need a new model for, and kind of a diorama like they used to do, like a diorama one where we get a new Lurtz, we get like maybe a Boromir, a normal Boromir and a dying Boromir. Well, that would be super cool with Frodo and Sam in it as well. Who knows? I really wished they would have done either a character series or like the Fellowship as a whole set, rather than sort of the bish bash like 3 hunters, and then you got Merry and Pippin in different kits like the Gandalf and Treebeard kits. Yeah, I wish they would have done it as one sort of Fellowship as they were leaving the meeting with Elrond, how they all looked in their garb. I mean, I would have preferred that, but beggars can't be choosers, can't we? We'll just have to wait and see. James Hogg says Defence of the North, I believe. James, did I asked you to reiterate what you meant, didn't Can't remember what that was to do with, James. Imagine an Aragorn's Travels book and Thorongil model being re-released. It would be awesome because that model's class, but yeah, that would be... Can't see it. I can't see it. I don't think so. Roll-based gamers in. How you doing, Johnny? Good to have you in, mate. I hope you're well. Rogue Chloral. All right, mate. How you doing, pal? Darren Warner. Evening, Steve. Hope all is well with you. Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. I hope everything's all right at your end. Joe Holzman says, I seem to recall some rules and conversion suggestions in an old White Dwarf for different areas of the fiefdoms. That would be a good base to expand that army from. It was it was only a slight rumour. There was not really any weight behind it, but there was also someone mentioning about maybe a Legions of Middle Earth book, like from years ago, but like a newer one, which would be cool, with like different profiles. So you can switch like more elites in it and things like that. You switch things up, some conversions, or maybe to tie in with some conversion sprues. But I think again to do that, we would be looking at. I think that would only tie in once all the troop range is updated. I don't think there'd be any point releasing a book or conversion sprues for 20-year-old sprues. I think it would be absolutely pointless and a waste of money. So yeah, I don't know. Will we finally get a Gondor Legendary Legion, says Agenda, and not just the Rangers? It seems to be that way, doesn't it? It seems that's what everything's pointing towards. You know, veterans of Asciliath, Legendary Legion would be super cool. Again, I think that could buff Faramir, make Faramir a bit of a beast. Having a beastie Faramir would be cool, man. His old Captain of Athelian profile was much better. 3 attacks and 3 wounds. Yeah, it was. Johnny says, personally, I love a new plastic Elrond and or Gil-galad kit. I love my elves. Yes, we were just mentioning that before. It's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. Whether that's tomorrow. I think like their Last Alliance stuff is everything's pointing towards the back end of the year for that. So they might hint at it tomorrow. We might get a few sneak peeks. We'll see. Dave says, how are you doing, Dave? Great to see you at the team event. Faramir is in a weird place, not strong enough to hang out with the big heroes and not as good value as a lot of the lesser heroes. Hovering over Faramir all day. Totally agree, and that's why I think the only way they could do them, because his profile wasn't changed initially like in the army book. The only way you can get better is a Legendary Legion to make him viable. Otherwise, there's no point. There's no point even putting him in a new starter set, because straight away he's going to become redundant when people pick the box up and realise you can get far more for your points than Faramir maxed out. So, yeah, totally agree with you, and I think a Legendary Legion will be the way to make him more viable. Joe says, the amount of people who play Last Alliance at tournaments up here, it would sell out in an instant. I totally agree, mate. I totally agree. He says, that's interesting about an Aryan. Carl says, a little 8-man one-dayer in Leicester was fun. Little 8-man one-dayer in Leicester. It was fun. Took the Rangers and Gandalf with some hobbits. 1 win, 2 losses against armies I had no right to win, but it was fun nonetheless. Good stuff. Joe says, the Asciliath Runes is also a serial offender for disappearing from the site and reappearing. It is, but the timing is key, Joe. The timing is key. Carl says, I'm not concerned regarding the footy and joysticks, mate. Mate, I don't know. It's Cities this year again, unfortunately. But I think you lot might have got a bit big for your boots. Montreal Day says, personally, I hope for a Legendary Legion for Lorien and Rivendell. I think these two need a bit of love, and I think you're going to get it. Well, welcome to the chat, pal. Hoping Lothlorien get one as my main army. Was gutted they didn't get a Legendary Legion in War of the North. I think there was a lot of Elvish players who thought they were hard done by in Defence of the North. And I was kind of on the side of there'll be a reason for that, because there was no good reason for elves not getting a little bit of a buff. Not with them being so prominent in a lot of the scenarios and things. So I think this could be it. I think the starts we're gonna. I think we've got to get out of that mindset of tomorrow we're going to get previewed like one thing and it's going to tie in together. I think there's going to be an amalgamation of different things. So we're going to tease the starter set and possibly the next supplement, which may have nothing to do with the starter set, but may buff the elvish stuff, because there's a lot of stuff like Landlorian and with the magnifying glass and a lot to do with elves and Rivendell and things like that. So yes, I think that could be where we're at. Joe says they said they'd have no release scheduled that directly ties into the Rings of Power. That doesn't preclude the potential for indirect tie-ins or future direct tie-ins. Yes. It's just got me thinking about it. I just don't understand why they said it. I just don't understand why they said, but why did they needed to point that out? Like, it just seems odd to me. Dave said if they hadn't said no Rings of Power, we'd have spent all week hyping Rings of Power. But why does that bother them? It makes no difference to them. It makes zero difference to them. Reese says, I agree, shame they didn't get a Legendary Legion, but New Rimmel and Orphan are cool, the models are cool. Harry Arthur Beale says, I really hope there is a Gildor Legendary Legion. Need more faster elves with rangers wandering in the wild. That would be cool. That would have helped me at the weekend when I played Lurtz's Scouts, who with Malher who can move 8 inches. That was a nightmare. Kadia Stan says, just give me a plastic Mouth of Sauron. The plastic Mouth of Sauron is a model that definitely needs updating. Definitely needs updating. They could do so much better with it now. With the way that they can sort of tool with the plastics, that could make a super cool Mouth of Sauron. Joe says to Frederick, give it to Damien and make him post it to Steve. Yeah. Stephen Wright says, I want to try and attend these awesome events, but I live in the southeast, so it's difficult, but I'm determined next year to try and come down for one once I can get an army sorted out. Do, my friend, do. I have events that are announced at the minute. I've got a Fell Winter in January. We have Tolkien in February, and then Scouring of Cheshire, which a load of people have been asking me about since I've been talking about Fell Winter. So if you're waiting, there is already an event page for a Scouring of Cheshire and a date, but the tickets are not on sale. It's a little bit early to put tickets on sale for an event that's in March. But don't worry, it's going to be amazing. I've actually been down to Element Games today to discuss a Fell Winter and Scouring with the new manager at Element Games. So super exciting stuff. And more boards, just everything. But if you get down to one of those events, Stephen, I can guarantee you will have an absolute blast. And don't worry, if you are new to events, Scouring especially, we always get loads of new players, and they always have an absolute blast. It's a great event if it's for a first event. Skywalker says the ultimate surprise would be a reboot of the War of the Ring large-scale battles. Now there's a thought. I've not heard many people mention that. That weirdly enough, that kind of makes sense. Two new plastic heroes in a box set, mass battle, loads of different troop type standard warriors come off the website. Could be on something there, mate. It could be. J-Mac says, what is the thing that happened? What is the thing that happened? What happened? Remember what you're talking about there, J-Mac. Amazon Middle Earth, COVID. Right, okay. No more orcs, please, says Jane Knox. We need new plastic orcs. Those Mordor Orcs brews have been around for bloody ages. 25 years, is it? The only reason they did that was because that plastic Witch King kit already existed. They don't like mixing materials in big boxes anymore. What, the Witch King plastic? That came out after the Pelennor set, though, didn't it? Way after. That was only last year or something. Is that what you mean? Dean says a new updated rulebook with War Drakes and War Drakes would be amazing. I think those two are for me, Dean. Those are good givens. All new models errata into one. Yes, and more. Yes, all the yesage. J-Max says, how many woods would the wood set? How many woods would the wood set would if the wood set was? J-Max, I've had a beer this afternoon. Jake Knox says, what about Helm's Deep starter set? Some riders, elves, Uruks. I would have, if my money, if I wouldn't have had all the rumours that have already sort of been circulating around up to this point, and someone told me it was going to be Two Towers themed box set, I would have gone with Helm's Deep just because they went with Pelennor for the first one. I would have gone with Helm's Deep for sure. It makes more sense to me than a Skiliath, but then maybe they've got ideas. War of the Ring perhaps, says Reese. Yeah, our friends just said that, and it's not a terrible shout. I think it's kind of a outside bet. Johnny says, talking of legions, a single book with all the legendary legions in would be hugely helpful for taking to tournaments rather than lugging every single source book around. This is true. Yes. I think we need an updated alliance matrix as well, don't we? Hasn't the alliance matrix where's the most up-to-date alliance matrix now? Because some of them are out of date, aren't they? I can send you Fiefdom's White Dwarf 295 if you want, says J-Mac. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're sending it to Joe, J-Mac, send it to me. Carl Daly, would it not be more prudent to do Last Alliance in 5 years with the last season of Rings of Power, and it's possible you will have Last Alliance on screen? That's some wishful thinking. Glorfindel, please, says Major Fletch. Yeah, Glorfindel needs a bit of love, doesn't he? Such a massive, awesome profile in the game, and his model's a bit meh. Aaron says that's exactly my thoughts to Carl. J-Matt says, going to make the pilgrimage to Scarron this year. It's going to be awesome to have you, my friend. I can't wait. James Palmer says, War of the Ring worked well as a fluffy game with mates. Enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, well, War of the Ring is one of those. It was full of holes, wasn't it? That was the big thing about it. There was a load of things in it that just kind of, there were certain lists you could bring, or certain things you could do, or ways to build a list that was almost unbeatable or something, if I remember. I didn't play much of it. At the time when War of the Ring was out, my lad who got me back into this game, who I've spoken many, many times, got me back into it. He got me into it in the first place. He was playing it, but I was just painting his models then. I wasn't playing. I took it, actually, first visit to Warhammer World was a War of the Ring event that I took him to, and I just sat in Bugman's all day. But yeah, I think a revised look at the rules for mass battle would be great though. If it was that, and a lot of the stuff was repackaged so you got more minis. Because when War of the Ring came out, that made SBG cheaper, didn't it? From what I remember, I think, in the sense that you got more for your money with troops. Joe Kelly says, here's a prediction. It's Rivendell and Last Alliance. The reason they were working on it, then shelved it, hoping for the Amazon license, but since they didn't get it, they decided to go for it. How do you know they didn't get it? I'm confident still that we're going to see a Rings of Power tie-in, but I don't think it will be by the time the series drops. I think it's gonna be sort of back end and going into New Year. I think it's an opportunity that, I know it's not all down to DW, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen and a lot of stars that need to align for it to happen, but I don't know. We'll see. Joe's clarifying, Plastic Witch King on Fell Beast already existed. Yeah, it did, but so did Theoden. Oh, but there's no Plastic Theoden, that's what you're saying, right? That's why it was the Pelennor box without a dismount. Yeah. But they made they made a Plastic Theoden because they didn't have a Plastic Theoden. So why would they not make a Plastic Witch King at that time and put 2 heroes in the box, like potentially they're going to do now? Do you know what I mean? Carl says, Scarron was my first major event, and he's telling that to Stephen Wright, and loved it. Been twice now, and I would be gutted if I couldn't do a third in a row. It's now a staple in my event calendar every year. Cheers, Carl. I think a lot of people find that, and I think that's Carl's sort of mentality of it is the reason why it's such a good event, because the people that come really want to be there. They know what to expect. They know it's the right kind of vibe. But yeah, cheers, pal. Stephen Wright says, I would love to see a Battle of Helm's Deep box set, also a 20th celebration for the 2 towers, and release out a new model of Theoden's son and a Helm's Deep. It sounds bonkers, but it would be nice. It does sound bonkers, and it would be very nice. But that's a lot to hope for, my friend. Armoured Glorfindel out of stock. Could we be seeing a mounted armoured plastic Glorfindel? Hope so. His old mount option is modelled horribly out of proportion. Popular hero too. He has become quite popular here. I've seen him quite a lot in the last 2 weekends. Because he's Glorfindel, isn't it? He's awesome. Love the sword over the head, but pose. Yeah, the pose. I think the posing's good. I just think a lot of the models are like that though. I think a lot of the models they could do so much more with now. And again, that Hopefully, is it coincidence that it's out of stock? We don't know, do we? How would you feel if another company got Rings of Power license for minis? I'm not going to lie, I'd be a bit gutted because I'd want them for our system, but we still got our system. A lot of characters are probably going to be similar, so yeah. But here's my answer to that. My answer to that is, I'd be gutted. I won't be happy, but I can't see that happening. I think if anyone's going to get a license to it, if anyone's going to pull out all the stops to make sure they get the license to that, it's going to be GW, right? Because why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't they do that? Why would they let someone else sneak in and take that from under the feet? I just can't see it happening. Judge Cohen says, Might Gilgalad with foot and shield options would be outstanding. It certainly would. It'd be class. I said this earlier in the stream. We've been dying. We've been screaming out for a new Gilgalad, and I think the rumours I heard, it was done and dusted and ready for a Last Alliance supplement, and then Amazon announced they were releasing the series and it got shelved. But again, hearsay, nothing there concrete. We don't know, but it would be class. Trace Farmer says, yes, War of the Ring was broken in places, dominated by magic and the Legendary Legion mostly. Everything else was underwhelming. Yeah. I'm not into mass battle, but I used to get White Dwarf back in the day, and online on the One Ring and stuff, and you'd see the pictures of War of the Ring games, and they just looked amazing. Like all those cool miniatures on amazing boards, just loads of the big heroes, like recreating the big battles that we all know and love. It'd be awesome if they could balance it out. It'd be awesome. Joe says they may still get the license, but if there were issues and everything got delayed, they may have figured, let's release stuff now and revisit in 2 to 3 years with new stuff. Yeah. And again, I said this earlier, I don't think there would be an issue releasing, for instance, a Gilgalad sculpted around the aesthetic of Peter Jackson's Gilgalad. A, because it's quite similar anyway, but mainly B, because old school players are going to want stuff that ties back to the movies. They're going to think, oh, it's cool that we're getting these new models, but that doesn't mean we're going to fall out of love with the Peter Jackson's aesthetic. We're still going to want stuff from there, so it would still sell. It would still do good, I think. Hope so, man. I'd still use GW rules. Yeah, no doubt. If that did happen, there'd be a page on Facebook where people would be creating profiles that they can be used. Obviously, they wouldn't be entered into, not while GW are supporting, like most events. There wouldn't be an event that you could use them, but for house ruling and for games at home, you could. Just go and says, based on what I've seen of the show, I don't want them to produce anything to do with it. I quite like what I've seen. I'm an advocate of it. I like it, and would I like it to be exactly the same aesthetic as Peter Jackson's movies? Yes, but I knew it never was going to be, because they're not Peter Jackson. It's not Peter Jackson making it. It's someone totally new with a new vision, and they want it to be its own thing and be different. So I'd already made my peace with that. Like, it doesn't bother me. I've just kind of taken it for what it is. I'm quite happy to. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. Austin says any license would come with season 2 to not spoil designs of season 1, given the secrecy of the show. And also on that, because I heard a lot of people talking about this a while back about whether they got the license, and people going, oh no, they must not have got the license, because if you remember with Lord of the Rings, we knew what XYZ was going to look like before we even seen him on screen, because it was released with GW so far ahead. But they were dealing with New Line then. This is Amazon. This is different. This is 25 years later. Things might work differently in that world, and it's a totally different company. So there's nothing to say that we would have seen it by now, because it's not with New Line. It's a totally different relationship. For all we know, they might have it. They might have agreed it all. It might all be signed off, but they're not allowed to release anything, like you say, till Amazon have already sort of shown all the aesthetics of it, so there's no teasers. For all we know, they might have just signed it last week, so they've not had time to do anything, and they've just signed the contract, and now they've got to come up with all this stuff. We just don't know. I'm trying to think quietly positive of it, and I'll be glad if they do, because it just means that this gaming system will have more sort of content to draw from. So yeah, we'll see. Either way, I'm happy. The game's growing, and then we've got more content to watch that's based around Middle Earth. So I'm happy either way. If you want Mass Battle 10mm better, says JMac, old Battle of Five Armies box. I have that. It's at the studio. Never ever played it. Yeah, I'm not. I like 28mm. I like that scale. I like to be able to see things. The thing that got me into this game in the first place was the 28mm miniatures. I think they're just super cool, and you can paint them, and they look like the actors that you've seen on screen. So, yeah, I'm not against it. I know a lot of people who do play the really small scale war games. They're not for me. I think that's why I never did anything with that box. I did plan ages ago to get it painted up and just like do a battle report on it on the channel, but it just was never up there in priority wise. If Amazon have chosen the people for the show that care, why wouldn't they sell the license to the company that we all know cares? GW have the proven track record with a game that thrives, says Carl. This is very true. We just don't know how Amazon work, and we don't know what's involved in getting a license. I'm like I say, I'm quietly confident, but what will be will be. The biggest potential problem, says Joe, I can see with that is that their current license will prevent them adding this series to their game, as they're made by different companies. I'm sure there'd be a way around it if they could make it work. From what I've seen, Amazon don't tend to give out licenses ahead of the first season. We've only just seen the first Wheel of Time sword revealed this week, and that came almost a year ago. This is true. New line have been brought into the TV contracts so that likenesses can be used to the show. Or so I've heard. Might be wrong. I think yeah, but I think it's a very small. Like they're not like in. I think discussions were just had and little sort of backhanders like we'll give you X amount of dollars to let us be similar. The Balrog's a big one. Like the Balrog, I didn't expect to look so alike. I mean, that was amazing when that was first seen that on screen. The GW studio design, says Judge Cohen, process takes around 13 to 18 months from design to production. Work would have started a while ago, or not, or it's just started now and we're not going to see it for another 13 to 18 months. Could be. Can I buy it off you, says JMac. What do you want to buy? What do you want to buy? What have I said? Oh, is it that Battle of Five Armies? Nope. Because I'm one of those weird guys who just needs one of everything. Because it's a thing, I need it. Ellis Baptiste says they've probably got a contract where GW are allowed to see how the show does in its first season before they decide to make models for the show or not. Could do. Tons of new models. Guess there's no chance of a new faction stroke army this late to the game. Horrors of old Arno models. Doubt so, but who knows. I was thinking about Arno the other day. Arno's definitely one of those. I mean, there's still a few factions that need a bit of love. Arno's one of them. I'm not sure where or when, but yeah, it's definitely up there. It does need a. I've got quite a big Arno army that I sent to Tom Jennings to paint, and he still got it. So Tom, I don't think you're watching because I've not seen you in the chat, but let me know if you still got it and if you finished it or whatever, because that would be cool to get on the channel. Lehman Russ says, hey, just wondering how many points is too many points, Iron Hills, because currently I have 2,500 points. Do you think I should increase it? No. It depends. I was talking to Damien and Adam Troke at the weekend. Oh, I wasn't talking. We were having a discussion. There was a few people there. And both Damien and Adam like to play at around 1,000 points. That's kind of if they want to play the game, that's what they go to. That's what they were saying. For me, it's 700 to 800. I don't like games that are too taxing. Sometimes I just want to get in and have a quick game that's like an hour and a half and it's a bit of fun. Yeah, it depends what you want on. I've never played a 2,500 points game. I don't know anyone who's played a 2,500 points game. That doesn't mean that you've wasted your money. What that means is that you've got many options and many different builds that you could build. We have probably over the weekend, if not over the weekend, over this week, you'll see a post going out on the Top Table Gaming community Facebook page, which is our upcoming events. and it's just a little list. I'm going to do one. I'm going to pin it to the group, so it's the top group, page that everyone sees. Also, we are getting a board at Element Games that is going to highlight a lot of stuff that's coming on Top Table, be it events or videos, and it's going to go on there. I'm going to get that printed off and go on there. And one of the events that we're going to do is it's called the Hammerstone Draft. Obviously got Hammer and Stone from the Rings of Power trailer. I just really like the sound of it. The Hammerstone Draft, and what it's based on, eventually it's going to be a 2-day event, but it's going to start off. I'm going to do a tester as a 1-day event with 3 games, just for a bit of fun. Probably the 2 weeks before Christmas, just after Throne of Skulls. And my idea is that you have a roster of 1,000 points, but the games are only 500 points. So you have a roster of 1,000 points. You rock up with 1,000 points off, say, Minas Tirith. And if you put thought into this, you'll have already wrote yourself 3 or 4 500 point lists from that 1,000 points. And when you get drawn against your opponent, so for instance, I might get drawn against Carl Daly, and Carl Daly's brought Mordor, and he's got a 1,000 point roster of Mordor. He'll show me his 1,000 points. I'll show him my 1,000 points. We then go away and we pick 500 points each, but we don't tell each other what it is. We just put it down on the table and then we reveal it together, because I might think he's going to go magic heavy. He's going to bring. He's got loads of wraiths in his 1,000 points. But then he might call my bluff and not do that at all, and go kind of like just sort of troop spam, and that's another element into the game. And I got the idea from the team event where the captains sort of play a little bit of poker at the beginning and for the matchups. So that's the idea. The Hammer and Stone Draft, and you bring 1,000 point roster, but you only play 500 point games, and you can change each round. You don't have to. It's not like you pick 500 points and then you play that for the rest of the event. You can change it every round. You have like 10 minutes at the start of every round where that's it. You have a 10-minute cut off, and you've got to put your list down at the table, face down, and then you just flip it and go, that's the list I'm playing with. And then you deploy and play the game as normal. I just think it's a cool little way of playing. So don't worry about having 2,500 points. That's perfect. Hope there's some first stage flashbacks to all the mad battles, says J-Mac. Excuse for more models. This is true. Just Gordon says correct, but that time frame hasn't changed much. Was my point. The GW contract was the Saul Zaert's company. Is that there is contention between Amazon and New Line regarding who had the rights to what. I think we're talking. There's always going to be people arguing about it, aren't there? I don't know. I try. It's like a swamp of information when you go online and you try and find out this, that, and the other about who has rights to this and who has rights to that. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. Joe says it depends if War of the Ring is coming back or not. Very true. When you know, hey, says Carl. Yes. I've got 3,000 points of Lothlorien, says J-Mac. That's a lot of elves, mate. Glyn says, any events you're running and have tickets left? Yes, mate. So Fellwinter in January, his tickets are still available. Skyrim tickets have not even gone up yet, so don't worry about that. And the one I've just mentioned, which is Hammer and Stone Draft, I've not even announced the event yet. I've got to go and speak to Element and just find a free Saturday or Sunday, because it's just going to be a 1-day event. Just a bit of fun to see if it works, to see if people like it. See that format. So yeah, I'll be updating a lot of stuff on the page to do with events. I've just been so busy the last few weeks, so not a chance. Crikey, I was being secretive then about your event, but you were ahead and spilled the beans earlier than expected. Yeah, well, I'm announcing it this week anyway, so yeah, I've got to tell people about it. Just bring 500 points of Iron Hill blisters. And Joe says to Lemon Russ, so 2 ballistas. 4. You need a hero fortitude for each one, so would have to pay for the captain upgrade, which is something like 75 to 80 points each. How many models would you define as a lot realistically? It depends. Depends on the army, because if you come as Goblin, like Goblin Town, you're gonna get for 600 points. You're gonna get what 600 points goblins. Even with the heroes, you're probably looking at 60 models. But then if you do the same amount of points in Iron Hills, you might be looking at 30, 35 models. So yeah, it totally depends. I've caught up at the chat. It's actually took me ages, but yeah, thank you everyone for chatting. Keep it coming. Let's sort of see now what we think. So if I go to let's have a look at this. It's pretty much the same thing. So this is. Let me get rid of that. That's the battle streams in Middle Earth chat, just constantly going. Those guys just talk for Britain. We were getting a lot of these. Looking Glass. I've not got. Let's see. That's 2 days ago. There was another one, wasn't there? Let me scroll through. Was the other one on the on this Facebook page? Because there was 2 that was slightly different. The FAQ is one. People, if you got anything to say about the FAQ, what did you think about the FAQ? I thought it was a good one. I thought the nerf to the 9. It's not really a nerf, is it? It just stops people winning the game the way that they do. Yeah, so that is so the first one was there, which was 3 days ago, which kind of focuses in. It's almost bang on Rivendell, and then you got the troll shows at the top, and then the most recent one was scroll. There they go again. Frederick, leave it. Yeah, Lorien. Silverlow, Moria. There's a lot in there. Fangorn's in there as well. Dol Guldur. So it's just like the hype train, isn't it? Like so many people are thinking. I mean, is that even linked to what we're going to get? Is it just like are they trolling us? Are they just like releasing pictures without Looking Glass at different parts of the map just to get the chat going? Could be. I don't think so. I think a lot of it will link into what's there, but. It's been really cool. I've also been keeping my eye on this the GW page to see what's come off, because when someone posted that up about the Mordor Orcs, was it Mordor Orcs, Mordor Troll, Morannon Orcs, Gothmog, Faramir, Damrod and Madril, Minister of Warriors, Minister of Knights, when they all come off, as well with the Osgiliath Terrain set, it just seems to make a lot of sense for the rumoured Osgiliath starter set. I just can't see it not being that now. Just everything's pointing towards it. Yeah, nothing. We didn't get anything, did we? We got something yesterday that went to say 2 days to go. I thought we were going to get like something every day of the week, which would have been nice, but we didn't get it. This was the last one. No, this wasn't the last one, but 2 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. Australia time. So it's a good time for everyone to tune in. Hopefully you guys are going to tune in tomorrow. I'll be here from 1:30 in the afternoon onwards, so I'll start half an hour before the Twitch stream, get everyone in, get chatting. We'll watch the stream. We'll pick our jaws up off the floor when the stream's ended. We'll chat about it for half an hour, and then tomorrow evening over on Battle Streams in Middle Earth, we'll be sort of breaking it down and talking about it and seeing what people think about it. So there's a lot of stuff here on Top Table Gaming and on Battle Streams about the new release. It's going to be the talk of town for the next few weeks at least. And it's just super cool, isn't it? It's such a good vibe around the community at the minute. Obviously, it's not going to please everyone. There's going to be people who are saying, "Oh, I wish it was this. It should have been that. They should have done this X, Y, Z, blah blah blah." But it's what it is. They can't please everyone. And I'm just really happy that they're showing this much support. It just puts us in good stead for the next probably 2 years. If it's a new starter set, I think the hobby is in a good place for a long time to come. That's my thoughts on it anyway. How many models would you define? Oh, you meant, Austin, how many models would I define as a lot? A lot to one person could be 4. A lot to another person might be no less than 20. I reckon, it says lots. Originally, I thought, right, we're gonna see Gothmog and Faramir, and then we're gonna see the Drakes, and then we're gonna see images of a couple of cool stuff from the possible next supplement. But over the last few days, I've started to think: are we going to get new Plastic Warriors and Minas Tirith? Are we going to get new Plastic Mordor Orcs? Like, I just, yeah, I can't. I just can't. I feel like a kid at Christmas. I feel like a kid at Christmas. I'm going to wake up tomorrow with a spring in my step. I'll be jumping around and watching the clock for 2 o'clock to roll around. I can't wait. And how about as new reveals fit within an hour? Well, they tend to sort of smash through them. I've watched a few of the preview shows before for 40k, and they tend to just boom, 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 boom. Once they get onto the reveals, they fire through them. So, and the shows are always an hour. And I think, what was the last one? The last one I watched, I think, was the Indomitus one. And there's a load of new models on that. And they got through them all easily within the hour. J-Man says, Lothlorien and Rivendell are both places the last alliance mustered. This is true. This is true. It could be the next supplement. It could be getting the starter set, which is one avenue of conversation. And then a new supplement is something like I say, it could be two totally separate different things. Carl says, personally, when they say loads of new models, I think at the first post, Rivendell, Forge World Fellowship, second post, Lorien, Rummel, and Orofin. I think we're going to see Beachbone. I think that's why Fangorn's in there. I think Beachbone, we've been waiting for him for ages, haven't we? Like, he's due. He is due. Reese says, was good the shade and the wraith rules I really like, and cleared a few things up with the Emperor. Yeah. So there's they were sort of rules that we've needed for a while, and really should have come out a few FAQs ago. But I think the Legendary Legion for the Black Riders just made that rule at the forefront of needing to be changed, because a lot more people were bringing Black Riders. It's already very powerful. And it was like auto win on certain scenarios. I think a lot of people were saying a lot of scenarios where it ends on 25. They were just like black darting the opponent's hero and then killing themselves, and it's auto win. Could just be tracking the Fellowship on the map. This is true. This is true. How is it just me? Would everyone be excited if we got like a Forge World Fellowship? Like the Doran's Company one. That would be class, right? Like a Forge World Fellowship. All new poses. Like, maybe not in one set, but in like groups of 3. I can't see it because we've had so many of the plastics Fellowship heroes. They'd sell. Just do it, GW. Just do it. I've never been to a Lord of the Rings event. So what they like, says Lehman Russ. They're awesome, mate. They're really good. And I mean, I'm going to say that because I run a couple, but they're probably the reason why I'm still involved in the hobby, if I'm totally honest. I touched on it before, so I never gamed when I was younger, when I was a kid. I had kids, and my son, around the time Two Towers was released, sort of 20 years ago, seen the advert on telly for Battle Games in Middle Earth, and then I took him to. I'd seen the Fellowship. I've always been a Tolkien fan, but of the books and the movies, but not the games. And I took him to see Two Towers. He loved it. So then showing him Fellowship, he loved it, and he wanted the models there, and he wanted the toys of what he'd seen and what he'd loved. And it was only when he'd left the hobby I got into the hobby more, because I'd invested so much financially into it, and really like paint. I found that I really like painting. I'd never painted models before that, and I was in the One Ring forums, and then events just kind of started to pick up, and I went to my first event, and I've just never looked back. I went a few years where I went to a lot of events. Like I don't get to many now. I try and get to all the Warhammer World ones. I run anything between 2 and 4 a year myself, so that takes up a lot of my weekends that I can get away with. But I wish I could get to more. But there was a time when I was going to a lot because I didn't run any, so I was got to maybe 6-7 events a year. Made a lot of friends and made friends who are some of my best friends to this day. So like Damien, who do battle streams in Middle Earth with, I met through the hobby. A lot of the people in the chat, Glyn, Carl, Frederick, Reese, a lot of these people I didn't know before meeting them on Facebook, and at events. So yeah, they're great, mate. They're great. They're awesome, and you can get anything you want from an event. I always think, or at my events anyway, there's probably 10% of the people that go to my events who are there to try and win and see how well they can do at the game, and the other 90% are just there to have fun and have a laugh and want to use the army that they've been painting for the last 3 months and have put a lot of love into, and they've built it around a certain theme. And it's just a really cool vibe. Like, it's a really cool vibe. It's the best thing about the hobby. It's the best thing about the hobby. I guarantee it. Whether you're just a painter or whether you're just a gamer, events are the best thing about the hobby. You get so much from them, and you're just meeting people that you've been talking to on Facebook for nearly every day or every other day of your life is always good. Speaking to people is always good. So I highly recommend it. Glenn says, saw Torcon fell through, then the subsequent what I thought was push it for you to run a free event and reschedule, avaided online group after I noticed the pattern repeated. It wasn't really pushed. I think people had booked hotels, hadn't they, Glenn? And there was a string of things. It wasn't just the leak, really. The leak was the straw that brought the camels back while we had to postpone. There was a catalogue of things which I can't be bothered getting into, and they're irrelevant anyway to anyone other than me and Andy who were running it. But the free event was cool. You're always going to get mumbles and grumbles. So we put the free on event and the event on free for that weekend. And do you know what? I had a laugh. I got to play because I was the ringer, and I had a great laugh. It was like a lot more intimate, a smaller number because it was the only people who couldn't move hotels were there. Yeah, it was great. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. German starter set is still available, but the English one is gone, says Frederick. That's interesting. That is interesting. Glyn liked the FAQ. Yeah, I think it was probably one of the better FAQs. There didn't really seem to be a lot of like people up in arms, which was good. Catch you all later, says Carl. Go to watch match of the day and fall asleep after 2 games. See you tomorrow afternoon. Yes, Carl. Hope to see you in the stream tomorrow. So many streams tomorrow, says Frederick. Warhammer TV, TTG, Zorpa Zorp, plus friends, and then B-Sime. Well, I hope, Frederick, that you're going to be here, my friend. I really do. So the Warhammer TV stream, the way I'm going to do it is like this. So, you know, this shot. Basically, you're going to see me in the corner, and the stream's going to be on here. So if I go to Twitch, where is it? I'm not going to win now, but where you can see all that behind me, so that this screen that's moving now, that will be the Twitch stream. So we'll hear them, we'll see them. I'll keep quiet and just type like you guys are whilst they're announcing things. You might hear me say the odd ooh, ah, wow, but I'll keep quiet while they're talking about the important stuff. So you're not going to miss the Twitch stream by watching me, is what I'm saying. It's going to be on. I'm just going to be in the corner, and we can chat in the chat, and yeah, it's going to be super cool. I hope to see you all here. It'd be really nice to see you all here. A proper SBG channel. I'm only joking. Imagine multiple starter sets, maybe different settings for different sizes. Yeah, I think. Do you mean kind of like what I mentioned before about maybe like army starter sets? There's been rumours of that, and I think that would be good for the system, because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Like if you new, especially if you're new to wargaming, and I think it's quite hard for people who. So for a company that is a gaming company, I think sometimes it might be quite hard for them to grasp what it's like as someone who has no clue about wargaming coming into wargaming, and it is quite daunting. I remember the first time trying to work out like how it works, like building armies and what models can go with what models, and what you can use with what, and why things have different rules and all that kind of stuff. So I think if they had army starter sets, so like Boromir of the White Tower with a load of Minister of Warriors, a couple of Phantom Court Guard, and a couple of the models that do different stuff. So you got a couple of models that have Bodyguard in there, a couple of Rangers in there, obviously the Chaff, and then, do you know what I mean? In one box, that would be quite cool, and you just give you the rules for that and say, right, this is your army. You don't have to build an army. Here's your army, and it's X amount of points. Or in this box, here's a 400 point list. Here's a 500 point list. Here's a 600 point list. Whatever. that means that they can just get their models, put them together, paint them, get on a table. They know they've got the rules for that army. There's no list building involved, which I know is one of the most fun parts of this game, but it's also quite daunting if you don't know what you're doing. All you want to do really at first, as a new player, I think, is get your models on the table and roll some dice, and then all the other stuff kind of as you get to grips with the game, that all comes with it, like the different builds and things. So army start sets would be a good shout. Reese says he'd be buzzing with the new Forge World Fellowship. Me too, man. Me too. Lord events are the best, not biased, says J-Mac. They are. I think they are. Glyn says Steve's events are the best. Thanks, man. Yes, I am biased. Oh, cheers, dude. Will Rob says, I'm just hoping Khazad Doom will get a Legendary Legion. They're gonna hit everyone with Legendary Legions, aren't they? Like, because they all need it. I was talking to Imogen, who was at the team event a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about this the other day, and I think if you're not playing a Legendary Legion, you go to an event and you play against a Legendary Legion, you kind of feel like you're at a disadvantage. So everyone's going to get Legendary Legion at some point. Lord of the Rings events, social nights are the highlight of the weekend. They're the best bit, man. They're the best bit. For me, the Saturday night, like the after the games on the Saturday, if it's a 2-day event and you're there for like the weekend, the Saturday night is always class. Because that's when you get to talk to everyone. During the day when you're playing your games, you only get to talk to the person opposite you and you're both concentrating on the game. So you are chatting, but you're also concentrating on what you're doing. So it's when you don't have to think about that and you kick back and you have a couple of beers. I normally have a quiz on the Saturday night as well. If my event's at Element Games, I try and keep everyone there because there's a bar there, you can get food, and we have a quiz and everyone hangs out and just has a lot of fun. It's great. I've got some plans for the next one as well to maybe do big sort of participation games. So maybe have like a big Helm's Deep siege battle where it's like 4 or 5 players aside. And people can take turns in playing that with each other over the weekend. Maybe sort of limit it to like 3 turns, and then you let the next people on, and then they play 3 turns, and you let the next people on, or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to get my head around it. It's quite difficult, but I have the means to do it. I just need to work out how to do it to make it work. We'll watch all the streams, but I won't be B-siming. All my shagrats are painted, and I didn't really have any space left to bring any hobby stuff with me to Dortmund, but I will tune in. Good man. It'd be strange not to have you there, Frederick. Lehman Russ, just wondering where are your events located? So I'm in Manchester, so not all my events, but most of my events are at a place called Element Games in Stockport, which is in Greater Manchester. So it's probably about 20-minute drive out of Manchester city centre. So Manchester in the UK. But I have just recently ran the team event, which wasn't at Element Games, which was in a venue in city centre Manchester called the Flower and Flagon, which is a pub, which is freaking awesome, especially with it being a team event. It's just like perfect. But attached to the pub is a venue which normally they host like gigs and different things like that, like musical gigs. So it's quite a big hall, but it's literally just through one set of doors and you're in the hall. So I had all the gaming tables and the event was in there, and people could just walk through the double doors to the pub and get a pint and then bring it back in, and it was great. So that was really cool. But most of my events are at Element Games, and it's geared up to host events. It's great. The only limit I have at Element Games, and I'm kind of noticing it, or I have noticed it the last couple of years because Scouring of Cheshire has become so popular, is I'm limited now to numbers. So the last 2, I think I've been 120 players. So I've got 120 players there, and the only reason it isn't more is because I can't fit any more in. 120 players is the maximum. But they're always great events. They're always great events. Frederick says, can't remember the last time it didn't B-sign when B-sign was on. No, I can't. James says, we'll be working tomorrow, but we'll catch up on the stream tomorrow evening with bated breath. Ooh, I'd hate to be working. I feel for you, man. Steve's in and around Manchester, Frederick. Yes, true. Reese, I bet you're loving the changes to Blade Wrath on the Emperor. He loves his Easterlings, does Reese. Glenn echoes Element Games. J-Matt says, The night's dangerous. I'm always too hungover to be any good the game the next day. I used to do it all the time. I can remember being at I think it might have been a GT Warhammer World event, and all the usual suspects. This was many years ago. Like all the usual suspects of the old school sort of gang were there. So like Jamie Giblin, Damien was there, Thomas Harrison, Ed Ball was playing this before he worked there. Jay Clare was there. He was out on the Saturday night. And I remember me and James Clark going out. We went to Rock City and we didn't get in till 5 o'clock on Sunday morning, and we had to be at Warhammer World for 9 o'clock. So we got back to the hotel and literally had about 3 hours sleep. Got up, showered, breakfast, and we had a great. The Saturday night was great. It was a lot of fun. But I remember thinking, I am never doing that again, because I just hated every second of playing and rolling dice on the Sunday because I was so hungover. It was horrible. Glenn says, I was knackered at Lascar in my game 6. I wanted my bed. Yeah, that's the problem, because you have so much fun on the Saturday night. So you've got to be careful. You've got to rein it in a little bit. J-Mac is laughing. Limera says, so it's a bit of a trek from London. Dude, we have people. I have people come from all over. I have people come over from Ireland. I have people. A couple of Belgians, Dutch. It's 2.5 hours on the train, my friend. There's a lot of people come from London, and there's probably a lot of people driving up from London. I bet if you give someone a shout on the Great British Hobbit League, if you wanted to go, you could probably car share, which would be a lot cheaper. And I know a lot of the lads also who travel. We have a hotel over the road, but a lot of them just get Airbnbs now. It's so easy if there's a group of you. So if there's like 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever friends coming, just Airbnb it. Glenn stayed an additional day, so he's rested for the flight home. I do remember. Mark saying, "How you doing, Greentree? Good to have you back, mate. Hello all. Been out. What have I missed? Just us waffling, mate, and getting super excited about tomorrow." Chapter Master Valrak, as I live and breathe, he's in. How you doing, mate? I've been talking to Sam today. Sam is very excited for Lord of the Rings. He's not just a 40k legend. I think he'll soon be all in on Lord of the Rings, depending on what gets announced tomorrow. It's great to have you in, Sam. I hope you're well, mate. And he's hoping the Amazon TV series is hoping it's Amazon TV themed. I don't think it will be. But who knows for the future. Reese says, yes, Glenn, it was really good. Damien's in. Damien was where? I can't tell you, mate. I've been slagging you off. Lehman said hello to Valrak. Glenn says, Amdur and Kamul not needed. Not really. I still don't think anyone has truly mastered the Dragon Emperor yet. I think he's still new territory, and everyone's still a bit green with him. But people seem to be saying good things about him. I've still not painted mine. I'll probably start painting him tomorrow night when we're streaming with Damien. Frederick says, hello, Mr. O'Brien. Damien says, fell asleep with a shower a couple of hours ago and woke up to this utterly confused, thinking it was tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? It's not tomorrow. I've not started without you, mate. Don't you worry. B-Sam is tomorrow, says Frederick. J-Max says, a later start on the Sun so I can get beep on the sat. I've been talking a lot about this, especially for the team event. We had 6 games for the team event a couple of weeks ago, and although it's great, it was a foregone conclusion. I know that was probably a one-off, but it was a foregone conclusion by game 5 who was going to win it. So the 6th game didn't really make a massive difference to the podiums, and it was quite late finish because it's a team event and because you had a little bit of time at the start of each round for the captains to do their bit with the sort of pairings. I think that the last game finished about 6:30, which on a Sunday is quite late, especially if you've got to travel home and you live down south or in Scotland or whatever. So we're thinking for the team event, especially for the next one, is just having 5 games, having 3 games on the Saturday and 2 games on the Sunday. Finish on the Sunday a little bit earlier, so it's a little bit more relaxed. We can do the prize announcements and the winners announcements and things like that, getting out of the way, and people aren't like rushing to catch trains and get on the road quick, and everyone can just hang out a little bit more, and it's just a nicer vibe when people are going. So maybe that would go into the problem is, Jamie, when you've got that many people at an event, you need the 6 games. So the only, I suppose, answer to that is to have less points. But then if you have less points, you're restricted on your army builds and what you can bring. And I think people really like. I always go around 750, 800. I think with Scouring, I think people really like that sort of them points. They can bring a couple of big heroes and still have decent numbers at around 800 points. Damien says, "Loved your Mummock video, dude. It was a very cool video. I chuckled at a few points. Please do go and check that out. If you click his name here, you'll be brought up on his YouTube channel. Again, give him a sub, give him a like, watch some of his videos. Supporting each other is always a positive." He says, "Oh, thanks, man. Was worried I went a bit far with that. Don't let Valrat scam you in the inevitable collab." Me and Valrat have been talking. Sam, we've probably been talking for. I want to say it was either during lockdown or just before lockdown. We started chatting, and we've been saying for ages we're going to get together at Element Games because we're both in Manchester. Makes complete sense too. He was going to show me the ropes with 40k, and vice versa. I was going to do that Middle Earth. He's been genuine, by the way. He's been interested in Middle Earth for a long time. I think he's just like me. He's been very busy, but he's a full-time YouTuber now, so he should have loads of time on his hands. But we'll get him down to the studio and hopefully get some games. And I want to play some games for fun. He's not that clued up on the rules yet, so we'll have some games for fun and see where it goes there. Sam's also interested in fiefdoms, so I've got some fiefdoms that you can try out, mate. Already painted, so you can try before you buy, so to speak. There are some really nice combos with the Emperor and new characters. Bump Blade Wrath and Enchanted Blades on him. Will do a lot of damage with that. Well, even without the Emperor, the new the new characters were an awesome addition to Easterlings. We played that Battle Report Reese, which I've still not released, not finished editing it yet. And they were awesome. They were just awesome. They were just really good. Clint says it's filth, but so glad Angmar and Rafe's got the nerf back. Yeah, they needed it. They needed it, and the FAQ was a really good FAQ. I think everything. There's a lot of stuff that was announced was expected or people wanted. No one was jumping up and down and screaming and crying. So yeah. Do you think you'll ever see a Legendary Legion Iron Hills? Yes. We're currently everything from Pelennor up to this point, source book wise and release wise, I think, other than I think we have had a couple of Hobbit releases. We've got the what do you call it? Keeper of the Dungeons. But I think most of the stuff that's come out is Lord of the Rings based. There's been the odd model release where it's just filled in a couple of gaps that it had, but so we're still in like the Lord of the Rings era. We've not even touched Hobbit yet. They've not even gone there. All the source books have been Lord of the Rings era. Defense of the North's a bit of a different one to that, but yeah, eventually they will. Eventually they will for sure. Not pop goes the ring wraith, says Jay. Yeah, so annoying. It only happened to me once. That I've only ever played against them once, and it happened, and it just feels a bit sucky. It just feels like you've been done out of a game. So, just made complete sense. And I think, especially now as well, like I said, with them being more prevalent than they were, it's obviously going to be happening a lot more. Because the people who bring that Legendary Legion are bringing it for a reason, because it's a good Legendary Legion, and they want to win games. And if that's a way to win games that they may look at and think, oh, I might struggle here, then you can understand why they do it, but at the same time, it's not fun. So yeah, it's good enough. So we have been streaming for, what time is it? 11:15. Streaming for a while. Dollar and Wrath Rents. Well, I've got both of them, Sam. I've got both of them. So if you want to try them out, come out to the studio. We'll play some games. Roll some dice. You can try them out. My Ents are at the studio. My Dolomroth, I think my Knights of Dolomroth are at the studio, and my other stuff is here somewhere. But I can bring it down, and you can play some games, see what you think. He's really good. I think I said to you last time when you mentioned it, like if you get Boromir with his banner as well, class. It'd be awesome. The last SBG hobby I did was a converted Theodred bearded as a what if moment if he lived through the first battle of the River Eisen. Did you ever post that on the group, Glenn? Because you should do if you haven't. Have you painted him up? That'd be good. I'm now. I fell for that thing where at doubles I played the Rohan Legendary Legion, Theoden's Riders, whatever it's called, and it's just awesome. And now I want to build a list around that just to play it. Maybe I'll only play it once, and then that'll be it. Limerus says Dollarroth are a fun army to build and paint. I hope you're prepared for lots of resin and fine cast. The foot knights are amazing, aren't they? The knights Mounted Knights plastic. So you got plastic. Yeah, the fine cast stuff. The fine cast stuff's not great, but you can still get them on eBay in metal. I've got 12 Men at Arms of Dollarroth, which I remember nearly got rid of, but I'm glad I didn't. Mark just wants some new terrain. I love terrain. I'm like you, mate. He's fully painted, says Glenn. Get him on the group. Sean Williams says super excited for the stream tomorrow. Hope it's a new edition. I think it's a new starter set. That seems to be where we're at. It's going to be a new starter set. I'm hoping it has a new rule book in it, which is I don't think we're going to get new rules. I don't think we're going to have an updated version of the rules. That's highly unlikely. But I think a rule book that's updated so that if it is a new starter set, new players that have never played the game before are not buying a book that has outdated rules in it and things that they have to go online to. Well, they won't know, will they? They probably won't know what an FAQ is. So I can't see them putting a book in a new starter set aimed at new players that isn't up to date. But we'll see. Damien would love a new Tauriel. Soon, mate. Soon. Glenn says, Cough 3D printed fiefdoms are cheaper. Cough, oh, Glenn, but they're not the real ones. There's a page, I can't remember what it's called. Something, Journeys in Middle-earth or something. Which is, I don't think they use SBG rules, but they're 28 to 30 mil scale. And it's all 3D printed stuff. And I think they've created their own rules for like a skirmishy game. I don't think they use SBG rules. But some of the models that are on there are quite cool. They're a very different aesthetic because they're not from the movies. So the aesthetic's very different. But I've seen some stuff on there that's quite nice. Some of the mounted like Rangers are quite nice. They wouldn't fit in. I have this weird thing about it's got to be the right aesthetic for me now. It's like OCD or something. It's got to be the same aesthetic. But some of it looks cool. But it's just another set of models that I don't want to get in. I don't want to start collecting. I'm quite happy with what I'm collecting. New Tariel starter set. Yeah, you wish. Give more ends. So what have we got? Am I correct in thinking we've got plastic treebeard, we've got plastic generic ent, we've got the Forge World ent. We're hopefully going to get Beach Bone soon. Possibly teased it tomorrow. That's it. The old metal generic ent isn't available anymore, but it's quite cool. You can get it on eBay. But ends are quite expensive anyway, so you don't need a lot to have an army. And I've seen like the plastic ent kit. You can model it in different ways, so it looks quite different. I'll post them tomorrow with better light. Hopefully, after the SBG love has been reignited, I'm sure it will be reignited, Glenn. I'm very, very sure it will be. Right, guys, I'm gonna call it there for tonight. I've had an absolute blast. It's been great. I just needed to sort of release. Like I've been like a coiled spring all day, just thinking about tomorrow and what they're going to say. Because obviously, as you guys know, I love this hobby. I love this game, and I've been super excited since last weekend. I've gone from like one thing to another. What I think they're going to announce. Are we all on the same page? We kind of think like it's going to be an Ascilia theme starter set. It seems. We've had Mr. Harry Parkhill has said on his podcast that he's got a mole. He's been in there. He's 007 of the SBG world, and he's got a mole in Warhammer world. And it's definitely an Ascilia starter set with a new plastic Gothmog, new plastic Faramir. But as far as anything else, that's as much as we know. We don't know what the other lots of models are that they have hinted at. We know that Minister of plastics and Mordor plastics have come off the site. Are we going to see new plastics? Unlikely, but oh my god, it would be amazing if we did. Who knows? Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to sign off. I'll be here from 1:30 PM onwards. I'll be watching the stream. I'll have the Twitch stream on this stream, so you'll be able to see it, you'll be able to hear it. We can watch it together. We can chat in the chat about how excited we are. And then don't forget, after that, we can digest it in the evening, have our dinners, and then join myself and Damien for Battle Streams in Middle-earth. If you don't know what Battle Streams in Middle-earth is, where have you been? If you click, you can see him in the chat, Battle Streams in Middle-earth. If you click that name, that will take you to the YouTube channel. Give it a subscribe. Tune in tomorrow night. We try to stream once a fortnight. August is a bit of a funny one because we've got so much on. But give it a subscribe. Tune in tomorrow where we will be chewing the fat on all the news that we've had. And yeah, I'm going to struggle to sleep tonight. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Right, people, I'm going to go. Thank you for joining me. It's been fantastic. It's been great to hear all your thoughts as well. Tomorrow's a new day. So, you know, it might look totally different, the landscape of Middle-earth SBG. This time tomorrow, who knows? It's exciting. It's exciting. But take care, people. Good night. See you tomorrow at 1:30. Make sure you tune in. And then I'll see you tomorrow evening. Damien, I'll chat to you soon. Sam, give me a shout. Let's get a game together. Everyone else, love you. Reese, where's my Dale, man? See you later.